Hello, people of the internet. So we're going to do another talking video because I got nothing else to do. And something I noticed is it really seems like as I've gotten older, the younger people out there, even the older people to some extent, you're afraid to fail. And like I know when you go through school, failure, it's all grades and performance based and things like that, and it has a negative stigma. You might get put somewhere, things like that. And that's not really what I'm talking about. But like the fear of failing at something keeps people from trying anything. It seems to keep people from trying to create, from trying to think outside of think outside the box, think outside the boundaries of what they have been told is normal or should be accepted or whatever it happens to be. And it really does go back to stifling creativity when you're afraid to even try. Nobody is perfect at everything right out of the gate, and you have to try things, and you have to practice at them just to get any better. You're never going to be, there are very few savants in the world, and that's for probably a pretty good reason. And like dealing with cars and stuff, as I've gotten older, I know it's harder now to do certain things just because of the complexity in the vehicles. Coming up, the 70s, 80s, and 90s vehicles is very easy to kind of Frankenstein, do a Johnny Cash build one part at a time. And today it's just not. They're too integrated. They're too standalone in that, not everything talks, not everything is compatible, stuff like that. So it does make it difficult. And in a world where everybody has 3D printers, it seems like, and you guys are born with like the ability to work CAD, and I get that's a presumption, and it's not quite that way, but I do find more and more that people aren't willing to try anything. Oh, well, I've never seen anything like that on the forums or the Discord or anything, so no. Or, this guy's been doing this stuff for 100 years, since dinosaurs walked the earth. And so if you don't do it the exact way that he did, the Earth's rotational force is going to stop, and we're all going to die because we didn't do it the way this one guy or this one small collective of people said. And granted, your idea may be stupid. It may be impossible based on your skill set. It may be impossible based on physics as reality knows them. But at the same time, you have to kind of be willing to take the risk of trying your weird, crazy, oddball ideas, working with them, trying to learn the skills that are going to go into helping you proceed with your weird, crazy ideas, and be okay when they just outright fail. I've been around plenty of people learning to cook, and the stuff that they create, the dogs won't touch because it's so bad. But you got to go through those steps. You got to make the scribbles and do everything else. What's the old adage? You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. So don't be like that. Don't let the fear of not knowing how to do something or being told that it's completely stupid stop you from trying it. Now, also, don't let good sense, if good sense is telling you, hey, this is a dumb idea because you could lose an arm or a leg or die or something like that, you might want to listen to that and back up, regroup, and maybe plan. I'm not really touching on stuff like that. I see guys unwilling, like in the car world, to make brackets or to try to do something where they have a relatively simple idea. I was talking to a guy a couple weeks ago about moving an engine, and he in his car there's a large gap between the firewall and the back of the engine and even the bell housing, and just to push weight back, he's doing a lot of modifications. He's going to need a custom drive shaft anyway, so drive shaft length doesn't play into it at this point. He's just kind of looking at it, and he's like, well, I've got the space to move the transmission mount back because the frame rails are flat enough. He can move the transmission mount back. And he said, and it looks like he can move the engine back. He can get the engine back about 2 inches and still have plenty of clearance around it, still be able to get the bell housing bolts from underneath. He won't be able to get to them from the firewall anymore, but he'll be get to them from underneath the vehicle. And he asked a couple of questions around, the car forum groups, whatever. And everybody, that's stupid, that's dumb, that's this, that's that. But realistically, you're talking a couple plates, maybe some reinforcement, and you can slide an engine back, a couple inches and do what you're going to do. Will it amount to anything? Probably not. It doesn't seem like enough weight distribution to me to be worth it in the long run, because he doesn't need the space in front of the engine. But at the same time, it's his project, and it's simple, and you're going to have the engine out to rebuild it. You're going to have the drive shaft out because you're doing custom transmission and drive shaft. Why not give it a shot? Why not try it? And he honestly had been dealing with this problem for a couple of months and was afraid to try it because nobody else had done it, and everybody told him it was going to be bad. What's the worst that's going to happen? He's going to lose a day's time, maybe, a couple hours, day's time, screwing around, messing around, and then he figures out that it either is going to work or it's not going to work. And in that context, he hasn't destroyed anything. He doesn't have to cut cross members and structural components out or anything like that. He just got to line it up differently when he shoves the engine back in the hole. And that's probably a gross, low point as far as like creativity failures and things like that. But I've seen tons of people get stopped over the years. They want to play an instrument, but everybody tells me I'm not coordinated enough. I'm not this, I'm not that. They want to go do a sport or ride a bike, ride a skateboard. Lots of people ride skateboards. Now, like, I've tried roller skating. I've tried roller skating and roller blading because I'm old enough to have had roller skates. And that's not for me. I tried it several times, and ice skating too. That's not for me. Skateboarding's fun, mountain biking's fun, BMXing's fun, but not going to do that. But I had to try it to figure out that I wasn't going to do it, don't be afraid to fail. Failure is growth. Failure is learning. If you constantly fail and you never learn from that, that's on you. You definitely need to reevaluate. But be creative, get out, do something, build something, let your brain work outside of the constraints that have been put on it. Because without that, you're never really going to grow or expand or be anything more than just there, I know NPC is taking a negative connotation, and probably rightfully so. But do you want to be active in the world, or do you want to be just floating along on a pre-formatted layout? Do you want to be following the script all the time, or do you want to try to do something a little different? So that's it. Just don't be afraid of failure. It's okay. If you fail too many times at the same thing, maybe you do need to reevaluate. You know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same task over and over and expecting different results. But get out, try some things, be creative, work outside of the box that you've been shoved into or that people say you have to fit your project into, and see what happens. You know, doesn't hurt to innovate. So get out, have fun, go build something you like.